Hello out there. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dan, and I am a curriculum development manager here at code.org. And thank you so much for joining us for our afternoon session of Code Bytes. I'll make a little camera adjustment so that you can see my wonderful head accessory going on up here. Thank you so much for joining us. In this episode of Code Bytes, we are going to be talking about artificial intelligence, or AI, and we're going to teach a computer to classify different images. And I'm super excited because here at Code.org, we believe that anyone can code. And so I am excited to be joined by my father, Eric, and together we're going to learn about artificial intelligence. You want to come join me up on the stage? Round of applause. Round of applause for Eric here.
Hey, folks.
There we go right here.
Okay.
We have been, this is very important, we are now matching a little bit. I have my code shirt, and he is, of course, the code guest. And so we are very excited to be facilitating this investigation into artificial intelligence. So first of all, So welcome, Pops. It's good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yes.
Absolutely. Can you share how old you are with the world?
I know I look young, but I'm really 72.
72, a septuagenarian is going to join, and we're going to talk about AI. Have you done any work with AI before?
Not knowingly.
Not knowingly? What are some ways you think AI is like impacting your life right now?
The news.
In what way?
Well, I get my daily news brief, and I notice that it's geared specifically to me.
So like the recommendations.
Yeah, the recommendations.
It's saying things like, we think you'll like this, we think you'll like that. You know what? You're exactly right. Any of those recommendations, things like on Netflix or Spotify, we think you'll like this, we think you'll like that. That's AI.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining us here. And we know that you out there in the world are joining us as well. We'd love to know where you're from. There's a couple of ways you can tell us. There's this link that you can go to, code.org/map, and you can tell us where you're from. And I think we're going to switch over and take a look at all the folks who are joining us right now. We have over 400 viewers tuning in. Oh, look at all these people from all over, not just the US, all over the world. Wait, down in Antarctica? We have someone, who do you know in Antarctica?
Santa Claus.
That's very true. So we probably have Antarctica on the screen. We have the US. I see, we're in Arizona. I live in Tucson. So I wonder if there's some Arizona folks. Oh, and I see people in the chat sharing where they're from. Thank you so much. Oh, this is wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. And so this week, we're celebrating the Hour of Code, which is when millions of students like yourselves are learning the basics of computer science. And this event has passed over 1 billion student engagements. Did you know that 1 billion people? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Reaching students in every city around the world. And so we're going to do a couple of things today. We're going to train an AI to recognize different fish to help it clean up the ocean. We're going to train an AI from our webcam in order to recognize sign language, which is going to be really cool. And we're going to talk about some strategies involving bias and harm to avoid those when we're working with artificial intelligence. Some really deep stuff going on.
Wait a minute. So are we teaching the people about sign, or are we teaching the fish?
We're going to teach, well, that's a good question here. I can tell you exactly who we're going to teach.
Okay.
So we're going to teach our friend AI Bot right here. This is AI Bot floating in the world, and his job is to clean up the ocean. But AI Bot has a problem, you see. So we're going to start with ourselves first, all right? So because we have intelligence, we have natural intelligence. And one of the ways we know that is...
Okay.
Do I not always have natural intelligence?
No.
We'll
You're
save
perfect.
that for later.
You're
Oh,
perfect.
thank you so much.
So other things.
We can do this thing as human beings. We can close our eyes. And when I say the word fish, I want you to think of the first thing that pops into your head. And those of you participating as well in the chat, I want you to try that too. Close your eyes. And when I say the word fish, type in the chat, what type of fish do you see? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Fish. What kind of fish did you see when you closed your eyes and thought of a fish?
Thought of fish, one of those tropical fish with the appendages that go up and down, and they look superfluous, but they're not. I guess they have some function. It's beautiful, but small, very colorful.
With like the extra little like appendages and things. Those are like those deep sea fish that are all the way down at the ocean.
A coral reef.
A coral reef fish. See, that's a fish when we think of it.
Yes.
I thought of like Nemo from Finding Nemo. I thought of the little clownfish design. But an important thing is that we have these mental models for what a fish is. And Our AI bot does not have the same model. He has no idea what a fish is. So one of the first things that we need to do is give it a machine learning model. Just like we have a mental model, it needs a machine learning model to know what a fish is. So what do you think about this? Is that a fish?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a fish. What about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about this? Is that a fish?
Well, as far as I know, no.
I agree with you that it is not a fish. So we're going to say that this is not a fish. Now, what about this?
No.
I think so too. I'm going to kind of click through some others, fish and not fish. And what we're doing is we're giving AI bot these mental images. We're letting it figure out what are the things that are fish versus not fish. And it might start to notice some patterns. It'll notice patterns with like how the image is shaped. It'll notice patterns with the colors. It'll notice patterns with the features. Fish have eyes and mouth and trash does not. And when we've done this for a while, we can have AI bot test out and see how it does based on this machine learning model that it's done. You ready to see how it does?
Yeah.
So this, okay. So what should it do with this light bulb? Should it keep it or get rid of it?
Get rid of it.
Should get rid of it. Let's find out.
Okay.
What? Right away, it made a mistake. Well, this is good though. It's getting rid of that. That's a fish. That's a, nope. Clearly, we made some mistakes in here somewhere. AI bot does not have a very clear mental model of what, or rather a machine learning model of what a fish is versus not a fish. We can even investigate a little bit and take a look at the things that AI bot has learned. So AI bot thinks all of these things are fish. And over here, it thinks all of these things are not fish. And so what's happened is AI bot has noticed patterns. It's noticed some commonalities. It's maybe tried to figure out with its mental model what a fish is. For example, like most of these fish look round, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I thought the light bulb was the fish, because the light bulb is also round.
Got my vote. Okay.
So how do you think we can fix this with AI bot? How can we make sure that it doesn't make those same mistakes?
We need more fish examples.
We need more fish examples. But isn't like there's more than just fish in the sea, right?
Yeah.
There's like seahorses and starfish. Even if we trained it to recognize all the fish, wouldn't it still get rid of those other ocean creatures too? I think that'd be like a problem.
I don't know. So, okay, so with my AI experience, I don't know, but I'm sure that if you put enough information in, it'll be able to discern the difference.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Enough and varied information, it can figure it out. That's like the key principle of AI. Look at you. You can go apply for AI jobs now. You can go work at like Amazon or Google or Microsoft. Look at that. So we have just trained this little AI bot in order to tell the difference between fish and not fish. And it's built its own little machine learning model. And this process where we gave it some data, we let it train on itself, and then we tested it to see how it does, that's the really common process that happens with AI all the time. If you wanted to play around and keep going with this little tutorial, you can find all that information here at code.org/oceans, which is pretty cool. But we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to go to a different program. We're going to go to a program called Teachable Machine. And the thing that Teachable Machine does, which is really cool, is instead of training images just on the fish on there, we can have it train on our webcam up here.
Okay.
So in order to do that, if you decided to do this at home and you wanted to play around, I would recommend just Googling Teachable Machine, which is a nice thing to do because Google makes this program. So then you'll find it really easy. Google will point you right there. And so one thing that we can do is we can use our webcam to train things. Now I need to do something special that you won't have to do at home. I need to turn off my video here so that I can turn on the webcam here. And then you can see me on this website. There we go. We're right there. See, we're back.
Yes, we're back. Okay.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to do something that was inspired by an experience I had when I was still teaching. And so when I was still teaching at the high school classroom, we had a student enroll a couple of years ago, and she was a deaf student. And when she enrolled, a lot of the students in our community started to realize there were some accessibility problems in terms of this person participating in high school and engaging in high school and being able to get the education they deserved. And we started to realize that there's a lot of things about our environment that wasn't very inclusive to the deaf and hard of hearing community. And so what the students did is they made a petition and they rallied the administration and they said, hey, instead of French and Spanish and these other world languages, you should offer American Sign Language too. And they listened and they found a teacher and they started a program, and now that school has a thriving American Sign Language program. Did you know that? This is a true story.
Nope, I didn't know
I know, it's
that.
pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So I was inspired by these students, and I was really motivated to try and continue to build an inclusive community for the deaf and hard of hearing. And I wanted to make something with AI that could recognize sign language, because then I could help communicate with folks in the deaf and hard of hearing community. So we're going to use American Sign Language, which is these features here. And so you can use your hand to form different letters of the alphabet. And we're going to spell the 3 letters E, V, and A. So again, we're going to do E, V, and A. Do you know why we're going to do EVA?
It's my favorite word. One of my favorite words.
Why is it one of your favorite words?
It's, your daughter.
I have a daughter named Ava. Isn't that so cute? We're going to teach her. If there are any Avas out there in the world, this is for you. Same name as my daughter. Same name as lots of folks out here at code.org. We're very excited. So if I want to use this website to do that, first I need to say, I'm going to train this on the letter E. Whoops. And then down here, I need to let it know I'm going to train on the letter V. And then I need to add one more section to let it know I need to train on the letter A. Oops, I misspelled something. That's okay. We all make mistakes. Cool. EVA. Okay. So the way this works is we have to hold up our hands to represent the letter E. So E was like this. All right. So I'm going to do it first. You ready? I'm going to use this hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to press and hold record. I'm going to move this around a little bit. And what's happening is this machine is learning. I've given it 99 images, all representing the letter E. Now I need to do the same thing with the letter V. And so when this loads up, are you ready?
Yeah, that's my big moment.
This is your big moment.
Big moment, folks.
All right, so you're going to hold up the V. You ready?
V.
There you go.
Okay, now.
There you go. You kind of move it all over the place. No, not sideways. That's your voguing now. V for voguing.
Okay.
There you go. That's a good one right there.
Okay. Great.
So we move it in all those different places so it can learn that it's the V that's important and not all the other stuff that's going on. Now we're going to go down here to A, and I'll do the A again. So as I go to do this, here is A, and I have my A right over here. And I've given it about 100 images. So I made sure that I've given it the same amount of training images. I got 99, I got 120, I got 99 right here. And now that I've trained it on all these images, I can press this button. And this is when it starts to do the work of training the machine, of learning the differences between the E and the V in the A. And so as it's going through and doing this, I got to stay in this tab, and it's going to click through and do these pieces. I'm going to try and share my video again. Oh, look at us over here on the side. In preparation for this, I reached out to my old high school, and I asked the American Sign Language Club there to share some facts about the deaf and hard of hearing community in ASL. I want to share some of them with you. Can I do that?
Go right ahead.
So did you know that 90% of deaf babies are born to hearing parents?
No.
I didn't know that either until they told me. I was going to share some more. I have a couple more that I'll share in a little bit, but right now I want to go back to this, and I want to test out this model that got trained. So here we are right there. Okay, so you see us here in the middle, and then down here we have these predictions of what it's trying to do. Okay, so I'm going to hold up, this was E. I'm going to do an E right here. Uh-oh. It's getting a little confused, It keeps thinking that it's an A. Oh, there we go. So down here at the bottom, it has these little percentages of what it's trying to predict. Why don't you try your V? Why don't you hold up the V? Very strongly thinks it's a V. You did a much better job of training than I did. That's probably because you moved it all around the place.
No, it's because I'm older.
It's because you just have more experience, more wizened?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, I think so too. And then if I do the A out here, there we go. Pretty strongly down here, knows that it's an A down here. I'm not sure what happened with the V. I'm a little sad that the V didn't show up. Maybe I'm like holding it the wrong way. Oh, no. Well, the E, oh, wait, hold on. Come back into the picture a little bit because you were like, oh, see, that makes a difference because it's learned that you're in the picture when I do the E and the V and the A.
have a lot of trouble with some people.
Even though this is kind of a silly example where it can't tell the difference between an E and a V and an A, sometimes artificial intelligence is used in things like facial recognition, where telling the difference between one person or another, it's not as silly as just these ASL letters. It can mean the difference for someone. It can be very impactful for the people when it doesn't work as expected. So we always want to be careful when we're doing things with artificial intelligence and things like image recognition to make sure we get the most accurate models possible. When you follow along at home, there's a couple of extra cool steps that you can do to make sure that you can share this out. If you decided to make an app that uses EVA, or you decide to train on other ASL symbols, once you've done that, you can go into this menu and click Upload My Model. And when you do that, it'll take a second, but then you'll get this link here. And when you get this link here, one thing that you can do is you can copy and paste it into a new window. And you'll get this other website that you can send to your friends and your family and you can use out in the world that has your same trained model in it down here. So then if I wanted to, there's your V. Why don't I try A? A was over here. A is working. I don't know what happened with E. Oh, wait, E's a little bit. I didn't, maybe it's because, like, you know what it is? I blame these guys. That must be what it is.
Definitely.
AI isn't always perfect. Another cool thing that you can do with this same model as well is you can use a website called P5JS. And if you've done things with web design or web editing, this is a way that you can import your model into this other website. We can click on that top one there. And if I press this play button right here, it loads a website that I can also share with people that will also use our machine learning model. Do you see how down here it says daytime?
Yeah.
It's not what I want because it's using someone else's machine learning model. So instead, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to copy this line of code that has my model with it. And I'm going to paste it right here instead. And I'm going to paste. Oh, I lost paste. Where's paste? I'll just use my keyboard for it instead. Ooh. And then I'm going to stop and refresh the page. And now, if we did it correctly, see, letter V.
Letter V.
Then I'm going to hold up the A, letter A. So if you were to do other sort of hour of code tutorials involving websites or things like that, you can then build more out of this as well. So cool. We made an artificial intelligence machine learning model
For Ava.
For Ava. At this point, actually, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump ahead to this website. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you all can see me on the big window here. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to have to go back to the screen that I was at before. There we go. One of the things that we were about to do now is we were going to have Ava join us. But Ava is asleep, so you don't get to meet my baby. I know, so that's very sad. We weren't going to wake her up just for Code Bytes, but we were going to have her come and join us as well. But in the meantime, we have honored Ava's memory and made her letters here. If you wanted to look up other American Sign Language symbols and make your own app around it, you can totally do that. That just about wraps up our CodeByte episode. So hopefully now you know a little bit more about artificial intelligence and the machine learning process where we gather data, we train a model, and we test it out. And if we had more time, I would go back and retrain it because, oh boy, that E still isn't going very well. Did you learn some things about artificial intelligence?
I think so.
Yeah? What's like your takeaway? Your 5-word summary?
My 5-word summary?
Sure.
Well, oh gosh.
Your less than 10-word summary.
Less than 10-word summary, but you wanted a quick answer. I don't know if I have a quick answer.
I'll come back to you. It'll
Okay.
be good. I want to share with you, if you would like to learn more about artificial intelligence, we've got this really awesome panel coming up that you can participate in tomorrow as well. I've got a website for you that you can check out. It's code.org/AI. And we have this ethics of AI panel that's happening tomorrow that you can participate in. And so when you go to that website, code.org/AI, you can see this AI for oceans. You can learn more about that and help train the fish. You can learn more about what's happening behind the scenes with this How AI Works. And we've got this awesome Exploring the Ethics of AI panel that happens tomorrow at 10:30 Pacific. And I think it's 1:30 Eastern. Those are about those times, which is pretty cool. All right. Do you have your thoughts around artificial intelligence?
No, I want to say that I'm suffering from a 72-year-old sense of memory, and you'd have to repeat the question again.
Well, hopefully advances in artificial intelligence can help with things like memory. Like those are some of the things that they're doing.
Yeah, definitely, I would need that.
You need like a little AI. You need a little AI assistant or something like
that. Right.
Well, I am going to close out of these things. Really enjoyed my time with you all. Thank you all for coming. Go make some artificial intelligence, machine learning apps. Go use them to improve the world around us, and be careful with the data that you use. Thank you all so much.
What happened to the people who raised their hands?